G'day, Ben from Melbourne here. Today we're going to do a tribute to Steve Albini, sadly passed, unexpectedly had a heart attack. Really sad news. Even though my channel is Australian based, there's no denying the fact that Steve Albini is responsible for a huge chunk of my record collection, and influential in many other ways as well. His punk rock outlook on everything is, something to aspire to. Also, the influence of his bands Big Black and Shellac, along with the many amazing recordings he did. So there was a couple of Australian bands he's recorded, which I will show, so there is a little link there. But just sad to see him go. Not only did he record, some well-known bands, but he also, more importantly, recorded important albums. Kind of like what John Cale was doing in the 70s, I guess, Steve Albini was documenting these important albums and bands throughout the late 80s and 90s and beyond. So, yeah, sadly missed. Great. You know a Steve Albini record when you hear it because of its stark and bare, no frills, no studio trickery. I saw him speak once over here, and he was talking about his history in playing in bands and also recording. And his idea of recording is he's going to make your band sound like what your band sounds like. So if your band sounds great, you're going to sound great on tape. If your band's shit, you're going to sound like shit. So there's no hiding in one of his recordings. He just gets to the essence of what the band is. It's very, very, very live recording. I'm not saying there's no overdubs at all, but the guts of it is like a raw, unadorned sound, which is fantastic. And he was also an analog man. I believe another great quote of his was, analog loyalists will survive, fuck digital. So, gotta love him. Anyway, I'm going to show you my collection of records by bands he was in. Starting off with, of course, Big Black and the 12-inch Lungs. This one is pretty much all his work by himself before Big Black become more of a band and other members joined from Naked Ray Gun, another amazing band. So yeah, apparently he doesn't like this, but I do. And then Bulldozer, 12-inch, just dropped a 7-inch. I'm gonna go through these kind of quickly because there's a lot. And the El Duce 7-inch. So if you don't know Big Black, they were like no drummer, which was controversial at the time in that 80s Chicago punk scene. So already he's making a statement. The guitars are just so like raw and so like brittle, really edgy, almost to the point where you don't even know the guitars. Apparently, to get it even more abrasive sounding, Steve Albini used a metal pick when he played. This is a great Racer X 12-inch, which Racer X, I don't know a lot about it, but apparently he was a fan of Japanese manga, and Racer X was a character. I'm sure everybody will tell me I'm an idiot because I don't know that. First full-length album, Atomizer. All great covers too. What else we got? The 7-inch of Heartbeat, which is the cover of the Wire song. Another 12-inch, Headache. And the final full-length record, songs about fucking, with is apparently images also from a manga cartoon. And next he would go on and form a band which he's since said the name, he regrets. It was actually also named after a Japanese manga character, and from Japanese to English it translated to Rape Man, which is not a great name now or then, but I guess the idea was like a confrontational thing, like when punks in the 70s would wear swastikas. But with a bit more education, maybe they wouldn't have done that at the time. But a great band all the same. Recruited the rhythm section of, I think it was Scratch Acid, who members of that would go on and form the great Jesus Lizard. So yeah, this is their debut, Two Nuns and a Pack Mule. And then the EP Bud, which is great. And then after Rape Man formed Shellac, which sadly they were about to release a new record and go on tour. It was all finished and ready to go before he died. But yeah, his Shellac out Action Park. Shellac are like a completely different beast. He kind of invented that post-rock, math rock thing. Complex time signatures, rhythm, still abrasive sound, still in your face, confronting lyrics as well, but just magnificent stuff. I got to see Shellac 3 times. They were just amazing live bands, so tight. Yeah, brilliant. And then 1000 Hertz, which comes in this great package, like a tape box. And Terraform. And then there was a little bit of a wait with, I think this is, Excellent Italian Greyhound, which also has that cover. I like that. I do like Italian Greyhounds. They're quite cool dogs. And then the last one, which was about 10 years ago, called Dude Incredible. And yeah, the new one's, about to come out. So sad. Now I'm going to show a few records which Steve Albini recorded. He didn't like to be called a producer. He preferred, if you were going to give him a credit, it said recorded by Steve Albini. Looked at himself as an engineer to the point where he would wear like engineer's overalls as part of his outfit when he worked. Sort of a forgotten Sydney band, Crow, with their great record, My Kind of Pain. Check out the song Railhead. Just fantastic stuff. This is early 90s. Really, really good on Half a Cow Records. Good Australian label too. And then My Disco, of course, named after the Big Black song, How Would You Be Turning Up, to be recorded by Steve Albini, which you named your band after. But yeah, great band. Very like influenced by Shellac, but probably much more minimal, My Disco. This is their album. I think this one's called Parade? Yeah, Parade. So that's on CD. Then on the vinyl, Little Joy, another My Disco album, great stuff. And then, of course, the mighty Dirty Three recorded what might be, toss up between this and Horse Stories as their best albums. This is Ocean Songs, and if an unvarnished live sound's going to suit a band, it's definitely the Dirty Three. Incredible records. So they're the few Australian ones I've got. There's more, which I don't. I have Mark of Cain records, but I don't have the one that Steve Albini recorded. And now I'm going to whip through really quickly a lot of other stuff. I'm not going to tell you a lot about them, just because this video will be long enough as it is. So first of all, Slint with their debut album Tweeze, and then the self-titled 10-inch by Slint. Of course, the famous one, Pixies' Surfer Rosa, and then a slew of the Jesus Lizard's best records, Pure, Head, Goat, and Liar. Amazing band, the Jesus Lizard, particularly those 4 records. Then Pussy Galore with their album Dial M Motherfucker. This was the pre-John Spencer Blues Explosion band, which also had Neil Haggerty, who went on to form Royal Trucks, and I think Christina Martinez, who was John Spencer's wife, and also had their band Boss Hog, and there is Christina in all of her glory. So yeah, John Spencer also in this band. And here's the other one, called Cold Hands, another Boss Hog record recorded by Steve Albini. Sensing a theme here with a lot of nudity on some of these covers, but that had nothing to do with Steve Albini. He didn't choose the artwork. Yeah, another well-known band he recorded, The Breeders. This is their debut pod. A later album called Mountain Battles. It's been, he also said at the talk that the best vocalist he had ever recorded, he thought, was Kim Deal. And that's not because she's probably got an amazing range, but just the texture of his voice, and he thought, and just the way, it just married up with the tape beautifully. Seattle Heavyweights, Tad with Salt Lick. From the UK, The Great Wedding Present with their brilliant album Sea Monsters. Check out the song Rotterdam. It's probably my favourite on this one. Back to America at the indie rock scene, Superchunk with No Pocket for Kitty. Of course, Superchunk, if you don't know the band, you probably would know the indie label Merge, which they started. It's just amazing, all this stuff's recorded by Steve Albini. Such a range of stuff, and all fantastic records and important records. Speaking of John Spencer, the debut John Spencer Blues Explosion album. This is when they were... Oh no, this is on Caroline. The other album that's right is on Crypt Records. So if you know that crib garage rock sound, that was where the Blues Explosion were at that point. And then a lot of people were probably surprised that Steve Albini was involved in this John Spencer Blues Explosion, because this is where they literally cut it up and started again. So a lot of remixes, a lot of electronic sounds in here, which were mixed and done by other producers and engineers. But Steve Albini actually recorded a lot of the songs on this, and then they would take them elsewhere and rejig them. My favourite Fugazi record, In on the Kill Taker. Amazing band, amazing record. Of course, PJ Harvey, her second record, Rid of Me, which was also... the second one was the one that really gained a name for her and a following, and I noticed in one of the comments of her paying tribute said she wouldn't have a career without Steve Albini. Then, of course, a very famous one, In Utero, which this is like the reissue from 10 years back, not the anniversary one from last year. This was the one that Steve Albini oversaw the remastering of, and at the talk I saw him at, he said that this was like one of the most satisfying remasters that he's done, because of his, although not an audiophile record by any means, it was the closest, he said, to what was on the tape, which is on the vinyl. And of course, famously, the record company said that this was too raw and the 2 singles were remixed. But what's great about this set is it comes with an extra record, and it does have the original Steve Albini mixes of Heart Shaped Box and All Apologies. Great record. And then Kim Deal's other band, The Amps. This is basically her and Jim from the Last Splash lineup of the Breeders get together and get influenced by the lo-fi Guided by Voices sound. Fantastic record. It's still amazing. Like, this is all recorded by Steve Albini. The artists he attracted: Man or Astro Man, surf punk with a space influence. Fantastic band. That's their album Project Infinity. Then the other end of the spectrum, really quiet, introspective stuff. Palace Music, which is Will Oldham, who calls himself Bonnie Prince Billy these days. Really quiet, beautiful stuff. Viva Las Blues, and another Palace record, Arise Therefore. And then we have Bedhead, which were part of that, I guess, for the want of a better term, called slowcore, which was a reaction to grunge, where it's just very minimal, quiet, slow, sparse music, but beautiful stuff. And then the kings of slowcore, the beautiful Low, with sadly Mimi Parker passed away not long ago as well. I see Alan Sparhawk, her husband, is begun playing solo shows, and I think they're calling them the Songs Are Low or something, but this is a great record, Secret Name, and probably their masterpiece, recorded by Steve Albini, Things We Lost in the Fire. Am I holding that up the right way? Fantastic record. And then, like, still modern bands worked with him, like the Cloud Nothings, who this band and a band called Mets, which I don't have the record that Steve Albini produced, but I have their first two, and they're definitely influenced by Big Black and Shellac, that noise rock sound. Ty Segall, his self-titled album, Albini, like, amazing, isn't it? A live album by Ty Segall and his band called Deforming Lobes. Flatworms, Antarctica, and you can hear the influence, of course, again, of Steve Albini's bands on that. And then lastly, the third Fuzz record, which is featuring Ty Segall on vocals and drums, Charles Morhart, who is the drummer for Ty Segall, but the friggin' amazing guitarist. Like, as if there's not enough talent as there is. These guys are both incredible drummers, incredible guitarists, and that guy on bass. Anyway, that's it. That already went for a bit longer than I expected, but that just shows the breadth of the work that Steve Albini has done with his own projects, as well as recording and engineering some absolutely brilliant and important records. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.